Alrighty, I ate. I recorded the first one. I'm still tired, but I'm gonna try to sum up the rounds 2 and rounds 3 of the summer August quad that I played this Saturday at the Boylston Chess Club. Um, yeah, as a note, I was put in like the bottom bracket, bottom Swiss. Not happy about it, but the nice thing is when you show up to play, you gotta beat the players that you play against. My goal was to play well. After the first game where I thought I was up against like a 1700 young kid, and turned out to be like 950 or 1000. Still was a young kid. Maybe he'll be good at one point. I realized that the quality of opponents was not going to be super high. My rounds 1 and 3, I got matched up against like these little boys who are like, again, I have no idea how old these kids are, but 8 years old, who knows? My second round opponent was a woman named Thalia Wynne. And she is notable because I joined the Discord, the Boylston Discord, the same time she did, like literally the day after. So I saw her introductory post, and she talked about like Dungeons and Dragons. So it's funny because I remember when I joined, I was considering message her and be like, "Hey, I run a Dungeons and Dragons server." Anyway, I didn't, but we ended up playing, and afterward, I had a really nice conversation with her. She seemed lovely, and I invited her to the server. So maybe she'll end up playing D&D. Who knows? Anyway, she told me a little bit about her background, that she's a shogi player. I know a little bit about shogi. It's a very challenging game, kind of similar to chess, I guess, in that regard. But as far as chess, she played a bit, but she doesn't have a particularly high rating. For the record, I thought she played okay, but she made a few big misplays, which we'll go over. Because I'm going to combine the second and third round, I don't want to spend too long on this game, or either game, to be honest. But I at least want to get the recaps out there. So she played e4 to start. I once again have an opportunity to go back and punch. It's worth noting I got back-to-back blacks, which I wasn't thrilled about. It doesn't matter that much, but it is a little bit annoying because I like my white openings a little bit more. Mostly because I feel a little bit more versatile and a little bit more prepared. But, whatever. All right, so this is pretty typical. I'm playing the French again. This is the Queen's Knight variation. So far, I've been keeping my spreadsheet going. Interesting. Best move according to the computer is c5. I mean, c5 and d5 are the same moves. I'm just used to playing d5. I haven't really drilled the other one. This move, but whatever. Okay. For some reason I watched back one of my old videos, and I kept saying like opening moves, and for some reason it's opening theory, and book moves as far as going on through. I don't think that matters much, but bears worth saying. All right. Once I play d5, she plays d3. It's worth noting as well. I mean, I knew that this is the wrong move. I don't think, like, online I never see people play this. Yeah, and immediately she's just worse here. You almost always play d4 from this position. I told her that in the recap. I tried to help out a little bit. Again, not that I'm like an expert, but I do know the openings pretty well. You can take, you can push, you can develop the knight. Those are those are the three moves that are considered good. So when she played this, I knew immediately from the start that I'd be in good shape. I was heavily considering pushing. I then decided, you know what? She made it an inaccuracy. I would just play the moves that I'm comfortable playing, and I'm sure that I'd be in good shape later. I didn't have to do anything like too fancy. So the typical move is to develop the knight, which is what I did. Knight f6. Again, I should have played d4. I did consider that as soon as I saw that, but basically as soon as I saw the inaccuracy, I thought I should punish it, but I didn't. Whatever. It's a good enough move. Trying to think if there's any other note about her as for playing style. Oh yeah, playing style. The little boys that I played, round 1 and 3, played immediately. She also played fast. The only difference is there were different points where she made faces at me. Like one time, like when I would take there are a few times where I would take a move, she would like look at me and like nod, almost to say like, yeah, you made a good move there. And one time I was really torn. The only time, and I'll get to that point later in the game, where I did like a long think. Most of these moves I'm making pretty quickly, but there was one point where I thought for, I don't know, 15 minutes, maybe longer actually. She was making like almost, and she wasn't doing this to as gamesmanship. Like, it wasn't like she was trying to throw me off. I think she was just being funny. But definitely it like distracted me a little bit. But yeah, whatever. It was a little bit funny. All right. So knight f6 was played by me. It's a pretty typical move. She plays bishop to g5. You see this a lot. There's nothing like wrong with this. It's a pretty classic pin. The problem here is we kind of have tension in this spot, and obviously the idea is to slam e5. I still should play d4. I really was considering that, but the typical response, like if this pawn was already there, is to just develop your bishop to break the pin. It's the second best move. It's what I'm used to, so I just played it. Again, in the opening I wasn't thinking terribly long, but it's funny. Computer really wants me to just slam d4, and I should have just taken over there, but whatever. All right. She then responds once I play bishop e7. She does in fact play e5. So it is the best move. It's like it's a typical idea. There's only one move in this position. I mean, I could. Wow. Never mind. I guess there's two moves in this position. This is the only one I looked at. It's the best move, but apparently you could also play d4. Now, still, takes. No way. There's no way. What? Takes. Oh, because you take with that and then you're attacking both pieces. Okay. I didn't really consider that, to be honest. I just thought this was like a pretty natural move. Doing knight to... let me see if I did the nomenclature right. Yeah, I did. Knight fd7. Knight fd7. Okay, cool. Because remember last game I made some mistakes in the noting things. She plays bishop takes on e7. Pretty expected. I mean, it's kind of stranded out there. I trade. And again, I know at this point, 6 moves in, we've already reached parity. Now she plays d4. It's kind of like, again, it's the best move, but it's like the loss of tempo, where she could have done it from the move, what was it, 2, in one move. Yeah, so I think here, nice, I play the best move, I play a6. Yeah, and it's funny, the two things I was considering was either to castle or to play a6, and I thought if I castled this move and like finding a way to squirrel on in, which kind of prevents me from playing my my c5 idea, would be annoying, so I just wanted to stop it. Cool, alright. So I played a6. She responds with bishop d3. I think this is a pretty standard move in this position, just trying to centralize your bishop. You have scope. She had mentioned trying to like attack down on the h-file. There's not really anything there, but it's still a decent developing move. I think in the recap, because we went over the game, she was the only opponent as well that went over the game with me. The two little, like, I asked the first kid, I was like, hey, do you want to go over the game with me? He said, no! And he ran away from me. And then the third kid, I just wanted to go home as well, and he just like ran to his dad or whatever, after having his hands full of like boogers, and I just didn't want any part of that. So at least with me, she was the only one where we went over the game, which was very camaraderie, very friendly, so like that was at least fun. Because I really do like going over the game with the opponent, win or lose, even though every time I've gone over the game, everyone but won, I've won. I still even like the game that I lost, so whatever. Alright. With that in mind, with bishop d3, once that was played, let's see what happens here. Bishop d3, I play c5, so now I make my pawn break. Oh, good. I'm playing the best moves. This position just felt very comfortable to me. Again, I was moving pretty fast. The reason why is I'm threatening the d-pawn. If she takes, I immediately can move on in with my knight. I'm then targeting her bishop with check. It would leave her an isolated pawn. I'm already opening up. I mean, I'm already better here. My position just feels really comfortable. She plays knight f3, which makes some sense. She's just trying to develop her piece. The computer recommends f4, which is a weakening move, for the record. But I don't think that makes it a bad move necessarily, because you could probably build like a strong pawn chain that way. But anyway, yeah, I already felt pretty comfortable. She plays knight f3. Once she plays knight f3, oh wow, I'm playing really good moves. I take, c takes on d4. I know that at this point, once again, I'm winning a pawn. This felt like exactly like my first game, by the way, where I basically just make very normal moves the first couple, and they just give me a pawn right from the get-go. The only difference is the first opponent, I thought when I started playing him that he was a strong player. In this, and no offense Mia, who seemed like a lovely person, not a strong player, which is fine, so I just knew that she was just kind of making mistakes here in the opening. Which is fine, we're all here to learn. All right, knight to d4 is played. I look at the position. I think, is there really anything wrong with grabbing the pawn? I do like the quick count. All right, these pieces are still not developed. My king is still not safe, but I say, fuck it. I should take the pawn. And the computer agrees, and it looks like I just have a pretty dominant position already, and I didn't see any compensation for her whatsoever. Mia lashes out with queen to h5. In theory, this is a kind of a double attack. I mean, not really. And the reason I took the pawn is I knew I would always have this move to go knight takes d3 with check, leaving an isolated pawn and getting rid of, I guess, a decent piece for a decent piece as well. So I played it, and again, I was thinking about these were all pretty automatic. She was moving very quickly too, just for the record. All right, once this is played with the knight takes on d3 check. Obviously, she takes back, c takes. And this is where I thought for, I don't know, 5 minutes, maybe 10, because I'm looking at queen to b4. And part of me wants to just be safe and snug against kind of like really low-rated players. Like, I don't want to blunder anything because I feel like that's the only way I can lose. Like, if I somehow wind up with, like, a crazy attack, then, against me, then, like, all of a sudden, shit can go wrong. But this move just seemed too good. And the reason why queen b4 seemed really strong is obviously I'm pinning the knight, I'm attacking the pawn, and I'm attacking the knight. She would probably have to move the knight, and I looked at every possible sack. This is defended by the light square bishop. This is taken away by both the pawn and the knight. This is taken away by the pawn. This is taken away by the pawn, and you have no recapture because it's still guarded by the bishop. You can jump back, but then I thought I had d4 to take the pinned knight. I did look to see what if she then pinned my queen onto the pawn. Hopefully you guys are following along. And then I saw this move, knight to b6, and then once again I'm attacking her pin. If she takes that, then boom, my queen, which would be there, takes her queen if it was in either of these squares. So I saw in that variation, maybe she'd have to drop back her queen once my thing is here, and I'm just getting a huge attack. And so I looked at all that, and it's funny, the top two moves, I consider playing queen to b4 or castles, and I thought that if I didn't play queen b3 now, she would castle, and she would survive the worst of it. I would still be up a pawn in a really wonderful position, but I thought if I see a kill, just go for the kill. So I played it, and it is the best move in the position. I feel pretty proud of myself. We make the next few moves pretty quickly. She had a good move here, by the way. It is the best move in the position, queen to e5, because it's immediately stopping me from pushing e5. In fact, I didn't see it immediately. I was looking when I did this of all the ways to drop back with the knight. So that's fine. Once queen e5 is played, this is where I go into my think. So it's funny. This is where I spent 15 minutes. After the game, I told her the options. She was saying in the recap that she was only looking at me taking the b-pawn and what she was going to do. So she was thinking of my time. But I was really torn. It's funny. I was torn between all these three options. I took 15 minutes here, maybe even 20, because as soon as this is played, I knew I was winning, right? Like, I was like, okay, I think the game is over here. But I didn't know which is best. I didn't know if it was correct to castle first and then play it from there. I didn't know if it was correct to play f6, which pushes her away from the knight, obviously, or she loses the knight. Basically, the idea would be I would play f6, most likely would draw back to e3, and then I'd build the very powerful black center by pushing e5. She would most likely drop the knight somewhere, and then I can complete it with d4, winning the knight. So all that, I saw like a massive, huge pawn chain that way, and that looked really good. However, I didn't do f6, because I thought that there were some ways, like if she ran this way, and then I attacked again with the pawn by pushing to g6, she could then maybe, there were different ways for her to draw back, where I would be moving a lot of pawns by my king, and I thought, I didn't quite see the kill, so I thought it would leave me a little bit exposed with two pieces on the back rank, where maybe she'd have some counterplay. So that's why I didn't want to go the f6 line. I didn't want to play the castles, even though it's what the computer says is best, because I thought once I castle and she castles, all I saw was winning a pawn, another one, which is still really good. But apparently, the computer doesn't even recommend it. Apparently, the computer recommends just play this position, where I'm just have dominant positional play. So I looked at all my lines where I take the b pawn. Again, this is the one critical moment of the game. I'm going to probably speed through the rest of the moves because after this, nothing mattered that much. But I finally ended up taking queen takes on b2. And I spent all this time calculating. I calculated, a move like rook over here. I calculated different knight sacks because then, again, defended. I calculated, her dropping all the way forward. Different ways that she could defend the rook, etc., etc. And what's crazy is I played this move, and I don't know why I didn't consider just castling. Like, I spent so long on f6, on castles, and b2, and I looked at all the ways you could move the whatever the piece is called, the knight. I'm a little tired, and the rook, and I ignored the best response. By the way, that's probably why I decided this was the best move, because for some reason, mind blank, and she literally just cool, calm, and collected immediately, like no thought. I guess she was thinking of my time. Castles. And it's funny, because once she castles, I looked at this position, and, right, 1.7 or 1.78 is a pretty big advantage. It's not game-winning necessarily, but it's a pretty big advantage. But when this was before, like 2 moves ago, I thought the game was kind of over. I thought there was like a tactical end. And here I realized I had some complications because my queen is kind of offsides, a little bit out of play. There are some lines where maybe I get trapped and some lines where my queen is stuck in the middle. So thankfully, I looked at everything I could do. Like I realized that if I took, that she would then swing her rook, attacking my queen. I would probably need to sack it because if I then move it or so, she then takes my bishop with check. And then, whoopsies, there goes another rook. So, it's funny, in the recap, she actually even said, she's like, yeah, it's a good thing you castled here, because every other move, I'm pretty sure I had you. Now, that's not totally the case. This looks like, apparently, a dead-even game if I play it this way. But it is interesting to me, because, again, I spent all that time, I didn't see this position, I wasn't ready for it, and then when I got here, I realized I had to kind of pivot. And I sort of did the bailout, and I wanted to take pieces. I wanted to be aggressive, but none of them looked good. And thankfully, my instincts were right, and I did use some calculation. But I did play the best move in this position, which is just castle. I figured, as well, if you count the pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pawns, against 1, 2, 3, 4 pawns. 5 pawns. I have 2 pawns. She has more active pieces, and she technically has open lines. So I would say that this is a case where she has some compensation, but not much, right? Clearly not worth 2 pawns worth. The computer agrees. But it was kind of funny because at this point, I thought maybe the game would be over, but it really isn't. And she had a few. I would say she put up a little bit of a fight. There, I'll reach the point where I thought the game didn't matter anymore. But this position was reached, and the computer basically says to play like. C7, which kind of makes sense, infiltrating with the queen. I don't think that there's any immediate attack, but it kind of is an annoying move. Or F to C1, which is, again, defending the knight and lining it up on the open file. I think those would have been good moves, and I'm not exactly sure how I would have responded. I know I needed to get these 2 pieces out. I was behind in development, but I wasn't sure how best to do it. I figured I might have to give back a pawn in the process, but she further complicated the game on move 15, by just simply doing knight takes on d5. And I looked at this, and I was like, holy moly, what is going on here? I knew I had to take. Like, obviously, I'm not going to not take. It is the best move. But I basically decided, okay, I obviously have to take, and I just have to grip on. And I didn't think my queen was getting trapped, because I always saw that if she attacked it, I would always have, like, this bailout, or potentially a bailout to this side. So I saw that there was always an escape for my queen. I didn't see a way for her to win my queen. And I thought with the pawns and the piece that I'm up, even if my queen's kind of out of play and I'm behind development, I should be able to grip and hold, which is the case. So I wasn't really like that scared. But yeah, all right. Anyway, she then plays rook a to b1. which I actually think is a slight mistake. I think the other rook is better. Apparently, this is an excellent move. Yeah, the other rook is better. All right, well, kind of developing here on the open line. And I'm thinking about escapes. I'm thinking about taking more pawns. Apparently, c3 is the best line. Not sure I understand why. Oh, that's kind of tricky. You basically move it here, it gets attacked, and then we basically respond by attacking her queen. She doesn't have this move of taking where I would give back a piece, because then I would take, then she would take with the knight, and then my knight would be here and I would take. So basically it would be forcing even trades. But I thought that there were a lot of lines. The one thing that she has going for her is on this, on the b file, my rook is kind of out of play. So if there was a way for her to win this pawn, and then attack this spot, like if I move my bishop, I might actually drop a rook here. So I thought that there were like some chances. Like I knew conceptually, like computer-wise, that I was just like way up, but I did figure that she'd have a few tricky moves. So I actually did take, for the record. Okay, cool. It is the best move. I'm glad, because I was worried when I wasn't seeing it show up. But I did play queen takes a2. My idea is obviously I'm getting away from the rook checking me, essentially, and I'm defending my pawn. She then plays knight f5. And this is where the game basically is over. I thought that there were some clever moves that she could make. Yeah, like computer recommends just brute forcing some of these pawns. She needs to kind of go all in to have a chance. I think that makes sense. Like from a blitz perspective, she would have some bullet, maybe. She'd have some chances with that. But instead, she gives me like the really easy out, and this is kind of where the game ends, and probably where I'll go into the next one. But she plays knight f5, and I thought this was bad because obviously she's threatening the checkmate, right? Like I don't, that's pretty clear. She also has a check. But this whole game, the one thing I have working against me is my development, and this lets me trade off a very active piece of hers for mine. It's an even trade of material when I'm way up. So it just seemed very obvious, and it made the move easy. I didn't have to think about it. I just took. So it was pretty clear cut. Bishop takes on f5. Obviously, she does queen takes on f5. But again, once this is played, once the minor piece there is off the board, and my only weakness is the fact that this isn't developed yet, while my d pawn is still defended, this was kind of mop-up duty. And I think in the recap, I did tell her that. I said as much. And she kind of agreed. It's harder to keep the pieces on. I mean, again, she's like objectively losing at this position at this point anyway. But there were some complications. Again, if she, utilizing like the open lines, for example, like maybe the 7th, then I'd have a little bit of trickery against me. All right. Nonetheless, I'll try to wrap through the rest of this game pretty quickly because, again, I do win in short order. I play the best move. I play knight c6. I'm basically willing to give up. I'm willing to give up the pawn. Because I want to get my minor piece in the game. I figure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have a minor piece. I don't care if I give up a pawn. You know what I mean? Like, not a big deal. But I have to get my my knight in the game. She takes it after I play knight. No, not immediately, actually. Excuse me. Queen takes a2, knight f5, bishop takes f5. Queen takes f5, knight c6. Yep, these are the moves that I played. Nope, she does take it. She then plays rook takes on b7. And I thought as well that this wasn't really that big of a deal. As long as my f-rook is always guarding, with only 2 attackers, I have nothing to fear. I also have this long-term defense. So I just wasn't all that worried. I know that my back rank isn't the safest, so I thought once again, let's just get to safety. And I saw a decent maneuver. Looks like the computer likes it. I know I don't play the best computer line here, but and I did see this when I activated my knight. I'll pause, if you will, so that you guys can kind of catch up. But I rotated my knight to kind of get it defended and also where it's doing something. I play to d4, knight d4. The idea is pretty clear. On one hand, I'm attacking her queen. But on the other hand, I'm also threatening a check. But also, I have a very natural defensive square on e6, where it's defended, and then I'd basically be able to play d4, which locks up the board with everything defended. And again, my goal was, as soon as everything was defended, I am winning 100% of the time. So I like the odds there. All right, so knight d4 is played, effectively checking her queen. She plays queen e5. I also saw a funny fork. Okay, it wasn't like funny. I saw a fork. I'll just put it that way. Queen e5. She has to keep that on. I don't even know what the threat is. There's no threat basically. But I did see that if I was yeah, you'll see what I mean. Because it comes into play right here. All right, queen e5. I then play knight e6. Again, I'm defending this pawn. She can't threaten my queen off the back rank. I guess she could over there. Maybe that would be the right move. I don't know. How would I have done if she plays rook to d2? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Whatever. We're not spending too long analyzing this one. I'm I'm +5 basically. So like whatever, right? She plays g3. I didn't understand this move. You have to like if she was gonna launch the attack, probably needs to launch like to g4. I know that maybe she was worried about these jumps, things like that. It does take away, my f4 square. I play d4, which was, again, the goal I had in mind, which was locking up the middle of the board. This is defended. I did think that maybe she'd have kind of like another sack, where if she takes, I take, she takes, but there's just nothing there. And the whole time I thought everything was defended. If this pawn goes, I'll double up. I can even give up my a pawn. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, I just basically wanted to kill off any counterplay whatsoever, and I think I did that. She then continues sort of attacking by playing h4. Again, she's got it like pawn storm. It's too slow. They gave her an excellent, not bad. I play, and I see why queen c2 is a little better than queen d2. I played queen d2, which is still a very good move. I think you're supposed to play this one so that she can't defend the pawn with her rook, because the queen is taking it away, whereas I play it to the d3 square, which is slightly worse. So I do get it. I do get why my move is slightly worse, because it allows her to drop back. But again, it doesn't matter. My thinking, for the record, is if I take this pawn, I'm just going to march up the board and I'm just going to win. Again, I did my one long think. She's moving pretty quickly. I'm just looking to wrap this up and take the dub. Wow, how do I talk so long about nothing? I don't understand. This is already 27 minutes long. You gotta be kidding me. All right, well, I'll do my best. I promise you all the game ends pretty quickly. I play queen d2. And by the way, the reason why is I saw that if she tries to defend the pawn with the knight, this is the fork I'm talking about, where I would play queen to c5, threatening both the queen as well as the rook. And I thought that would surely end the game on the spot. Again, once the knight was traded, once I traded my bishop for her knight, I'm pretty sure she could just resign here. Maybe the players are so low rated that like they could still come back. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be blunt here. I'm never not winning this position. Okay, maybe against like a GM or something, they would trick me. Sure, I'll say that. A 2500 player, okay, I won't win this position against a 2500 player. But against even the 2,000 rated player, I'm gonna beat him if you give me this position. All right, whatever. It is what it is. All right, so I play queen to d2. She plays rook f to b1. Makes sense. Just kind of trying to line up a battery if there's anything there at all. Computer is kind of giving her plaudits, but the damage has already been done. Like there's no real coming back in this one, I think. I take the pawn. Best move. Nice. Again, my plan is still pretty clear. I just don't really see what she has. I don't have to take. All my pieces are defended. My king is incredibly safe. I could have been pushing this pawn the whole time. I realized that was another thing I could have done to win. But, yeah. All right, I'll just show the end of the game because I win in a moment. Once I take the pawn, queen takes on d3. Let me look through. She plays rook b8, and like it's interesting because I know that I can trade. I always have the knight defending, but I found what I thought. Okay, maybe I'm giving myself too much credit. I mean, the game's already over. Okay, it's the third best move. I thought this was like the classy move. I should have just traded off the rooks, but I play queen f3. Okay, get an excellent. The reason why I'm setting up a mating net, so when I push, that'll be checkmate. I'm defending this rook with my queen long term. I'm preventing her from pushing the f pawn. Everything is defended. Right now, the pawn's defended by the knight, and then my queen's going to defend it, etc., etc. So I thought this ended the game on the spot. Again, no one likes to resign, apparently. Whatever. It's annoying, but whatever. Yeah, once I play queen f3, she then plays rook b to b1 to b6. Rook 1 to b6. Still not exactly sure what's even being threatened. Maybe takes, but I don't think it matters. I think I could just push the pawn. But now I decide, fuck it. I play the a rook over, and I take. Apparently that's the that's okay, it's the best move. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure. I take, she takes. Yeah, we're gonna just get a bunch of trades here, and at the end of the game, I'm gonna have an extra pawn and knight, and it's gonna make another queen. So obviously I take. After I take on b8 once more with my rook, move 26. Then she takes with a queen, of course. It's check. If I didn't have the knight here, I would have hung checkmate. But don't worry, guys. I'm not going to do that. Of course, I block. That would be hanging mate. She was a nice person, but not that nice for me to just lose the game. So I block, and I feel like once this happens, the game ends in a moment, which is great. She then plays queen d6. On one hand, attacking this pawn, which doesn't matter, and technically attacking the pawn here. I push d3, which is the best move, and then it ends because she's about to resign. But we play out one more move where Mia takes on a6, and I obviously push d2. And with d2 being played, she then resigns the game because there's no stopping. Me to make another queen because whatever she plays, it's going to be mate momentarily. She can move the queen here. I would then make my own queen. I would have an extra queen. It's going to be checkmate. And she didn't. Thankfully, she did resign here. So that was this game. Her name was Mia. And I get the dub. We had a nice recap afterward. Let's see, black 1. Event, August, quad, and I'll just fill in Boston, Mass. Second round. All right. I'm going to save this one. Let's see, add to game collection. Let's save it here. I guess for posterity, we're going to do the review. My final game was a very easy one. I'll very quickly go over it. Wow, I played a 93% accuracy. I played great. I mean, I don't want to pat myself on the back that much, but I also don't think I had too many difficult decisions. But I'm proud of a 93% accuracy. That's really strong. I'm proud of myself. but again, I think the moves were very clear, to be honest. But I'm very happy nonetheless. So cool. That was round 2. Excuse me. I got the W. Not really much to say as far as a review. I think I played pretty well. She kind of messed up the opening a little bit. Wow, look at that accuracy. That is a good game. All right, and let's go. Let's see, how are we on time? 33 minutes. All right, I'm very quickly going to do the last game because the last game, my opponent was named Sean Stewart. He was also again, I'm going to just use 8 years old as the default when I mean really young kid. Because he was a really young kid. I have no idea how old he was. Again, another kid who didn't really say very much. He looked bored at the table. His dad had to come over and be like, come on, you got to play. He looked like he just wanted to be watching cartoons or something, which didn't make me feel good. I'm there for my fucking afternoon. I'm, playing like a little kid who doesn't want to be playing chess, All right, that's going to be my only whine of the situation. I knew the situation, which is I'm finally white. I win my group. I'll win, $50, which is nice. It's not bad. I'd much rather win money than lose money, of course. So here we go. I play d4 to start. My opponent responds with d5. I'm going to make some of these moves on the quick side, because at this point you guys have probably seen this type of opening. We're going to be playing good old Queen's Gambit. He responds with e6. And knight c3. Again, this is all book. Maybe I should be blasting through like the Queen's Knight variation and whatnot. Things that you guys have seen pretty often. I get pinned every fucking time. Everybody wants to pin me, which I don't mind. I'm very comfortable in this position. I kind of like it, to be honest. I play bishop. Really, I play bishop. Oh, I actually played something different. I normally don't play this move. I play bishop f4. This is not a move I normally play, and it's for good reason. It's a bad move. That's funny. All right. Well, I knew that taking was an option, and I knew that e3, which is an option. The last few times I've kind of gotten my bishop stuck a little bit, so I wanted to try. I wanted to try variation where I unloaded my, and again in blitz I actually do unload my bishop a lot. Sometimes I just play out this position with the 3 pawns here, but whatever. That's funny. It's just a bad move. All right. Well, it is what it is. All right. He responds with knight f6. Now I play e3. This is the pretty typical idea in this setup once e3 is played, because it opens my light square bishop, so that if he ever takes, I can just develop. And if he doesn't, I kind of have easy play, trying to utilize the c file. That's sort of the idea here. He's just getting his pieces out. Good for him. He plays bishop to d7. So far, it's not like he's playing badly or anything like that. I mean, he doesn't want to be there. He's moving immediately. Anytime I make a move, he moves as quickly as he can. It's actually kind of funny as well. He was recording the moves. Actually, I'm going to say a nice thing about my opponent. Not that I said anything mean, but there were a few times where he was gazing off into space. He really just wanted to be watching cartoons or something. And I'd play a move and he'd look at the board and he'd say, "Hey, what move did you play?" And obviously I wasn't going to be a dick and not tell him. I was like, "Oh, I played my bishop to f4, buddy." You know what I mean? I almost felt like a camp counselor. But there were multiple times, and he wouldn't, he was a young kid. I mean, maybe he wasn't even 8, maybe he was 7. He was pretty little. Yeah, he was probably 8. I don't know. But there are a few times I had to be like, "Hey, buddy, you gotta hit your clock." And he's like, "Oh yeah." But he was moving immediately, but he wasn't always clicking his clock. Okay, I'm gonna say this. The first kid I played seemed like he liked chess, and seemed like he wanted to be there, even though, who knows. This kid, it seemed like his dad wanted him to play chess, because his dad was there, bring him to the board. And I don't think this kid wanted to be playing chess. I'm gonna just say that, which I don't think is nice, but whatever. All right, he plays bishop to d7. I play knight f3. It's the best move. Great. Yeah, we're just developing. I mean, this is, at this point, the QCD, which is the Queen's Gambit Declined, Queen's Knight Variation. Again, I've just played these lines a lot, so none of this is foreign to me. In my spreadsheet, I'm starting to finally get, repeats, which is kind of cool. I'm going to go over that after I finish the analysis. He plays knight c6, which is fine. It's a developing move, but it is blocking in his bishop. c5 would have been better, basically putting the knight behind the pawn. It would be like the box setup, which again I've got a lot of experience in. So he kind of made an inaccuracy there. And I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty tired. This is my 3rd game of the day. I'm running on 4 hours of sleep. And I kind of get the sense that this guy, first off, his rating is pretty low. It's I think this kid's rating is 700 or something. And obviously, if you're 7 or 8 years old, you're 700, you're probably not bad at chess. He knows how the pieces move. But yeah, I'm going to sleepwalk through the game, basically. So yeah, once bishop d3 is played, knight c6, I play bishop d3. The reason why is I don't know actually if it's better to go bishop d3. Oh, okay, it is the best move. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was better to put it on the f2 square. The e2 square. See, I'm even making mistakes just saying squares. This is obviously my last video of the day, but it's also my last game of the day. The reason why is, of course, he can then take, and then I would have to take, and I'd waste a tempo. It's a typical setup. It's kind of what I expect when I play this. However, he just castles. It's not a bad move. It's fine. And so, in response, when he castles, he has this pin on me. I want to break the pin. I just castle. And and it, in fact, is the best move here. Cool. H6 is the best move here for him. Probably to stop this pin. Instead, he takes, which is not forced. It's probably better if he makes me play a3 first. I don't know. I probably would have actually looked for, again, one of these lines, sort of jumping on into the c7 square. It's a common idea that I have. But he takes on c3 with the bishop. I obviously take with the b pawn. Yeah, and then after move 9, and again, he's like recording the moves incorrectly. He's like missing some. He's gazing off into space. He's asking me the moves. I had to like the board next to me were again like two really young kids. I had to show them like I just learned this myself how to like set up a clock. I had to like help them, and they finished their game in like 7 minutes. The two kids they're playing an hour-long game, and they finished their game literally in like 7 minutes. Like the kids just fucking blitz out their moves. Either they get amped or they just don't know how to like hold their horses and think. I don't know, but it is really funny. All right, so B takes on C3. This is all very standard. Once that is played, he now plays Rook E8, getting the rook into the game. This is the first time I do a thing, and I'm moving really quickly as well. Partly because I just think I'm gonna just steamroll him, partly because he's moving really fast, so I'm kind of matching cadence, and partly because the moves all feel very automatic to me. Like I've played this position a lot, and all right. Apparently, the computer doesn't like my move because it's not listed in the top 5. But I looked at this position, and I thought, his bishop is bad, right? It's a bad bishop because this is his pawn chain, and he has no way of getting it out. I also thought his knight's kind of bad because I've taken away his jumps. The only piece that I think is good is his knight, potentially, because he can try to jump in, but I'm going to try to restrict that. So what if I was to close the position? Now, I know that oftentimes you want to trade off your double pawns, but I thought if I play c5, his pieces suck. And I could basically play c5, I would then develop my queen to c2. On one hand, I'm threatening this, but I'm really just taking away his knight jump. And he just doesn't really have any moves. Like, I'd have all the time in the world, whether I want to take the b file, whether I want to, sort of attack him down the h file. I just thought this was an appropriate positional move of playing c5, of locking down the board, where his pieces are on terrible squares. The computer doesn't like it. They think it's a mistake. I was looking at rook b1. Again, it kind of forces him immediately to play b6 in response. But that was at least my idea, and I thought this was good for the record. But all right, whatever. He then plays what is this? Knight h5. He kind of lashes out, and I'm gonna be honest. Oh wait, that's knight a5. Excuse me. Let's delete that. I was gonna say I didn't think he moved that one. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he plays knight h5, and the reason here is he kind of wants to take away the bishop. I can move it. I can just attack his queen and kind of like force him to move his pawns around, which was something I considered. And I found what I thought. Oh, that's interesting. That's even better. And I thought I found something better. It might not be, for the record. Maybe I made a mistake here. Maybe this was even a blunder, guys. I was playing a little bit more aggressively this game. I play queen c2, with the idea being, it was just a miss. It's just, the computer doesn't like this that much. Okay. With the idea being if he takes, which, believe it or not, he plays knight takes on f4, I'd have the in-between move of winning a pawn, which the computer likes. I didn't think I was getting trapped, but maybe a better player would have trapped me. All right, so I take. He moves his king to h8, so he moves it over. And then once I've won a pawn this way, now I can take his knight off on f4. And I thought here I was just up a pawn. What's interesting is if he plays... Yeah, so I saw this line. I thought this would be good. I'll get the... Here, I'm going to play what he played first. He played... after I play e takes on f4, he plays queen f6, which kind of makes sense. I mean, he develops his queen. He's trying to break through. Still a garbage bishop, but he's like attacking my f-pawn. He's potentially also now threatening to trap successfully the bishop. So obviously one move is to drop. I do play the best move in this position, but I want to just come back real quickly. Where if he did play g6, because I've kind of had this position from Blitz before, I did look at this at least, and I thought if he took, I would take back, on the g6 square. Again, I'm trying to really use the names of the squares. Okay, they like all these moves. These are great moves. He would then play the f pawn, takes the g pawn. I would then play queen takes on f6. Yeah, let's say he plays, okay, the computer says e7 over here, but if he does something, well, if he plays the rook here, it's just checkmate. Yeah, and I just thought from this position, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'd be up a piece. But I'd have the rook, the knight jumping to g5, potentially checkmating him. I think that's the only move that really stops it, or the queen there. I just thought this was a really strong attack. So yeah, this is what I was going to go into. Apparently, the computer likes it for me, and this is kind of what I saw at this point. I am kind of curious how the game would have gone. Actually, let's say he plays this, queen e7, and then the follow-up, yep, is knight to g5. Yep, seeing all of this. Yeah, you have to play the queen to g7 immediately, because if you do something like check the queen with the rook, you have checkmate. Because if they then blocks the queen, you then take and it's guarded. So yeah, interesting. Yeah. I am kind of curious how this would have played out. Like, what are you supposed to? What's the follow-up here, right? h5, retreating move. Huh. With the idea of essentially trying to bring like a rook lift in, and that's how you win the game. All right. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, honestly, if I was in this position, I probably would have traded, which apparently would have been bad for me. I mean, who knows what I would have done at that point? But that's the position I saw. However, so again, maybe this was a kind of an interesting game. Maybe he just ended up getting his queen trap pretty quickly, as you guys will see. But yeah, he doesn't do that. He played his queen up here. I saw the best move once he plays queen h6. I played knight to e5. The idea being pretty obvious. He can no longer, again, try to block in the bishop, because I could take and also take this piece for free. Or I could take this piece first, threatening his queen. So he has to respond. If he trades the knight, which is what he does, I can then remove the fact that I can now take with the f-pawn, so now he doesn't have a chance to take back. And I'd immediately be attacking his queen, so that would give me enough time to drop back with the bish. So I saw all that for the record, which I feel pretty good about, and yeah, and this is the position we got. So again, I beat him pretty quickly, spoiler. Not trying to have this video go, an hour long. 40. I'll end it within 15 minutes, and I think that's probably pretty fair. 2 games for 1. All right, knight e5 is played. He takes, knight takes on e5, which is fine. Immediately I take with the pawn. Oh, apparently it's an inaccuracy. Whatever. I go f takes. This was my plan all along. And I feel like in this position I just have a strong center. I'm up a pawn and his king is weak. So I just felt winning, right? They want me to go... Oh, wait, where did he go? He moves from knight, once I take the f-pawn, he goes queen h6, which makes sense, right? Like, he's trying to move back. I only have 1 move in this position, which is to drop it, which makes a lot of sense to me. It's what I played, bishop d3. Yeah, this is where just, like, the fact that he's a kid who doesn't really know what he's doing kind of comes into play. He just starts, like, making some random moves, to be honest. He goes queen to g5. I didn't understand what this move did, but like at this point, he's obviously not playing like the best moves, and I'm just trying to beat him very quickly, so I do. The position's calling for f4. The idea is obviously I can swing my rooks. Oops, I can swing my rooks in, I'm attacking his queen. Again, this is another position that just looked over. This is another kid that made me checkmate him, by the way. They all do that, I guess. So I play f4. Yeah, and I'm just gonna go through the rest of the game pretty quickly because I don't think there were really any decisions at this point. He plays queen g4. I think I play the best move here. Rook f3. Yep, rook f3. My idea is pretty clear cut, just so everyone is clear. I'm getting all my pieces into the attack. Because I've clamped down in the center, he has no moves. He's kind of locked into his with his bad bishop. He can't move here because I'm taking it away. He can't move here because I'm taking it away. I just thought, like, positionally this was just over. Computer agrees, so I was just trying to just demonstrate some technique. Again, annoyed that I'm playing against someone that's low rated, but whatever. He plays King G8. I guess he's just trying to dodge the checks. That's fine. I'm pretty sure that I can trap his queen. I have to find out how. Apparently, if I play Queen F2, it's a little bit faster. I thought it was better to get my other rook into the game, so I play Rook A to F1, which the computer likes. And my idea is basically now this rook is protecting my F pawn. I'm taking away these squares for his queen. I'm taking away this square for his queen. And when I swing my rook over, I'll be taking away these squares. So basically, I'm trapping his queen, guys. Yeah, all right. Not much to say. He plays his queen to H5. Again, just kind of like moving his queen around. I feel like it's only a matter of time before I trap it. When he does that, I play the best move. I play H3. Again, I can only play the players that are assigned against me. You know what I mean? Like, I can't... I'm sorry I had to play against a kid who was like 700 rating. You know what I mean? Like, I'd much rather play a 1700, but whatever. All right, not really much to say. I kind of trapped his queen. I then ended up checkmating him on H8. So because the video is kind of long and this is kind of, you know, a boring situation, it's literally him just playing until checkmate, where I take his queen. Funny enough, I actually took his queen with just a pawn. He could have even sacked it for a rook, and he didn't even do that. But it wouldn't have mattered. So it was a really easy win. All right. I'm worried if I make all the moves, it'll freeze out. I'm just going to say because I'm quite tired, and again, there's no other interesting spot other than his queen gets trapped, and it's a GG. Thanks all. I won my section, obviously, with 3 wins, no losses. My performance rating, not particularly high, because my 3 opponents were all, you know, rated 1,000 or less, so, you know, I'm supposed to win all 3 games. But hopefully the August Tuesday night, which will resume this Tuesday, I'll end up challenging some higher-rated opponents. All right, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one. I'll have another video on Tuesday. All right, bye.